Hello and welcome to Follow Everton. This is Aussie Chris, going to be talking you through the match with Everton away at Bournemouth. So my studio is not my regular studio, so there's probably a little bit more echo, potentially a little bit more of less visuals than normal. So apologies there, but I knew with such a match like today, had to do something. So if there's any issues with the audio and feedback, please let me know through the comments, but I'll try to give you guys live watch-along content as normal. So what we'll do to start off with is going through the lineup for today for the Blues. So what we'll do is I'll put myself there in the bottom and talk us through the lineup. So for Everton, the main change to the squad is an absence of Vitaly Mykolenko at left back today, which has had Ben Godfrey moving out to left back and Seamus Coleman back in the team, which a lot of us, and me included, have been screaming for. We are seeing him captaining the squad again and in the right back position. Outside of that, not a whole lot of change. DCL is starting rather than Beto, but Beto is on the bench. For Bournemouth, I nearly called him DCL, but his name is Dominic. Dominic Solanke is starting again. He was playing through a niggling injury, but according to, I think his name is Areola, their manager, said that he is now in good condition again to be fully fit and not working through that injury after the break. So something we have to consider today. The lineup for Bournemouth is relatively similar to what we've been seeing them with on a 4-2-3-1. So they have Neto as their captain in goal. Their fullbacks are Milos Kerkez and Adam Smith on the right side. They have the ever-present Zabani as well as Chris Mepham as the right centre-back pairing with Zabani. We are seeing Lewis Cook and Tyler Adams as a holding midfield pair of that really common 4-2-3-1 formation we're seeing. And I think for myself personally, I think a lot of people who have been watching Bournemouth this year, a lot of their danger play will actually be coming through Marcus Tavernier, Kluivert, and the new red-hot Antoine Semenyo, who'll all be kind of alternating, very similar to how we will have Doucouré, McNeil, and Harrison as the two wingers and the number 10 interchanging and trying to find gaps in the line. Bournemouth are better than that than we are. They score more goals. But by breaking through that gap between the centre-back and full-back position, they're either going to do an early cross to Solanke, who is quite good in the air, but so are we. Or what I'm really worried about is them doing cutbacks to Solanke and if let's say Semenyo is on the right side, Kluivert, Tavernier, and Solanke become those passing avenues in on goal. So the match has not kicked off yet. We're still about 7 minutes away from starting. I'm watching it off the Peacock app on my iPad that's just below me. So my eye contact seems to dip down. I'm watching the match as we go through that iPad. Let's go through some of the comments. Yeah, great to see Seamus back. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. We shouldn't need him anymore, but guess what? If he's available, he's going to put his left hamstring, his right Achilles, and his heart all over that pitch today. And I think he did play last time out there against Bournemouth at the Vitality, and we were quite poor that day, and we were quite poor earlier that week. It was one of those funny, we played twice in a week at the same venue, and we got thumped twice, and it was quite embarrassing. So, anywho, let's go into the benches for today, and then we can go back to this lineup here in a little bit. So, if I was to line myself on the left, and I put up, where are we? Did I not load you? Give me 1 second here, ladies and gentlemen. So the bench is as follows. So I'm slightly snuck off the edge there, but what we're seeing is Sean Dyche. We have is of course our manager on the top there on the right hand side. We have Virginia as a goalkeeping option, Patterson, Ashley Young, Michael Keane, Lewis Warrington back on the bench, which is really nice to see. Adrissa Ghana Gay, Andre Gomez, that was looking good in the training videos, Beto and Schmitti. But who we do not see is Dobbin, Lewis Dobbin injured himself during training. And as of now, I'm not too sure what happened to Mykolenko, but he is not in the squad today. So it does not appear that Godfrey moving to left back was a tactical decision, unless Mykolenko was removed from the entire squad tactically, which, doesn't make sense based on his form. So a relatively healthy bench. Will be interesting to see if we choose the likes of Warrington in the midfield, but with Idrissa Gana Gueye and Andre Gomez looking a bit better, I wouldn't expect any minutes from Warrington unless it's an absolute blowout. But we do have 2 attacking options. And what we are screaming for a lot of time is wing replacements. And I don't see a whole lot there. We see maybe Nathan Patterson playing ahead of Coleman, as I've been asking for if we decided to go for a 5 at the back system, where you could have him as a wing back. Maybe we could do something similar to that, where Coleman is supporting and instructing Patterson if we are getting late in the game and Harrison has continued his lack of form here. So potentially there. Quite a few names that I'm not as familiar with on the Bournemouth bench. We have Mark Travis, Max Aarons, Lloyd Kelly, James Hill, Philip Billing, who's someone that I think we should look to get in the summer since he's a bench option for Bournemouth. Otara, Alex Scott, Favre, and Unal. So just tying us back into the live coverage here. We are now, they've walked onto the field at Vitality. And beyond that, I'm not sure where you guys are at on your watch along, but as I'll go through here, I'll be consistently repeating the time I'm on, knowing that there are time lags between the various streaming sources around the world. So if you're watching in UK or watching through an alternate to conventional media, let's just say in the UK, you might be getting a different time zone. If you're watching Australia, Israeli blue, if you're watching, I think you said from maybe New York, maybe you're in a similar time zone to me, watching on Peacock. So they're going through the lineup and again showing that 4-2-3-1 for Bournemouth. What are your thoughts on the fixture today, Blues? Are we thinking we actually get something out of it? Personally, I was talking to Robbie on a separate text, thinking I'm oddly optimistic that this is the kind of match that we've had some rest. Either there's a lot of pressure on us to perform, but I think in a way maybe this was a really good reset, and the fact that we're not playing at Goodison means it's not a free hit. No match at the moment is a free hit, but that feeling that the pressure of performing in front of Goodison and every time you make a missed pass, the players feel hounded. Maybe playing at Bournemouth in a smaller stadium is perfect. I know they were quite poor last year here, but in reality, so have Bournemouth been. They have not been good at home. So the other thing that I think will be really interesting to see today, are we going to have a system where we're playing ultimate counterattack, letting them have the ball, and then we just do a mad dash forward? The second we see Beto on the bench rather than DCL, I imagine and I really hope that we try and pen them in and force a turnover with a high press, allowing Everton that opportunity to basically have a quick counterattack. I know when we versed them at Goodison, there was an opportunity, I think James Garner scored, where Christie, who's not even on the bench today, who I honestly think is a bit of a liability for them, but since he's not playing, someone else in the middle, if they give the ball away cheaply and we get a quick turnover, that's, I think, one of our best routes in on goal. It looks like we're very close to kickoff here on my Peacock app. They are swapping sides, so not sure what that indicates for who won the coin toss, but Bournemouth appear to be kicking from left to right on the TV screen here and wearing their red and black AC Milan-esque uniform, and Everton wearing their striped pajama outfit, kicking and hopefully scoring from right to left. And to the point that I believe Ryan was saying here, I do have a ticker that I'll set up for all the scores going on live. I'll be trying to watch the game. There's usually a bit of a time delay between Peacock and my normal stats up and score updater, which is the what we'll expect to see from SofaScore. So if you guys are getting score updates, please let me know and I'll try and update this where I can. But we're about to kick off here. Newcastle did win 4-3 at West Ham, bit of a late comeback, but there's some big matches going on. I've put Chelsea versus Burnley there twice. I'll edit that as we go along. Sheffield United play Fulham, and Tottenham and Luton as well. So the match is kicked off. Semenyo on the ball. Now to Zabani. Now going through the middle here. So in the defensive half, lots of trying to possession. Very quickly, we're seeing a press that worked exactly like we were hoping. Everton winning the ball back, and unfortunately offside. Really good start here though, Blues, or Greys today. DCL and Doucouré playing that pressing in that 4-4-2 formation. They played through the middle, gave the ball back immediately to James Garner, but unfortunately DCL couldn't get back into the right recovery position and not be offside. But those are going to be the opportunities for us. Give them a false sense of complacency, building through the middle and trying to turn over and hurt them. But that can't work all match. Looks like there was no foul called. James Garner came in and spun out. Braithwaite handling Semenyo. McNeil trying to cross out, but it's a good second and third effort. Came back to Onana as a result. Having a couple touches on the ball, the chip pass to Coleman. Widen knocks out wide. Taking on Tavernier and looking a little bit slow of foot, but not terrible there. Trying to take on a player that's a little bit faster than him. We know Coleman still knows how to be professional and hold on to the ball, but doesn't have the legs to take on a winger anymore. So Coleman has a throw in here at 1:33 on my clock on the right touch line on the Everton side. A little annoyed for lack of options, goes long and overthrows both Onana and DCL. Onana shielding the ball quite well, and we're in on a counter attack from Ben Godfrey. Semenyo, really good tackling right there. It appears that Luton may have gone 1-0 up. So whoever's in the comments, if that is confirmed, please let me know. So Tavernier on the ball to Solanke. They're coming through the middle here now, wide right to Semenyo, right out of box. Taking a strike, deflected, and a very lucky opportunity for us Blues. Pickford handled the save, but he knocked it back into play. And I'll see if they can show it here. Cook on the receiving end of that punch deflection and knocked it wide. But those opportunities are a little bit scary for us. So we know Semenyo is quite good, comfortable coming in from the right side into his left foot. I'm not sure if he is left-footed or not, but very comfortable doing so and was able to get a strike away. So that was very similar to the kind of goal that Bournemouth scored against Pickford last year, where he kicked, pawned it out instead of out of play right to the Bournemouth player. This was a little bit better of a save and a little bit tougher of a strike. So not too much blame on Pickford there. I'm at 3:13 on my clock. The left fullback is taking it up for Bournemouth. They're playing it through Tavernier again, but Coleman is looking quite comfortable and found some nice contact on the back, so belly flopped on the ball to win a free kick. Looks like there might be a touch of rain at Bournemouth. It's hard to tell on a little iPad. Let me check the scores real quick, because I believe we are 1-0 up at Luton. Luton are 1 up, and Chong scored for them. So I'll update the banner here quickly, which will include removing double Chelsea off my my score tally. Yeah. And Luton up 1. All the other matches so far are goalless. I'm not going to be able to pull off highlights at the moment for those matches. Maybe that's something we can look at halftime here. So I'm at 4:15. There was hopefully Everton can win some possession back, but if they don't, and they let Bournemouth have the ball, we do have that sweet spot of about 1/3 possession, and being clinical in that possession being the challenge that Dyche's squad has. But if we win the ball in the right areas and quickly counterpunch them, they need really good rest defense while trying to build the play up from back, and that's where we can kick in. But Bournemouth are doing quite well holding to the ball. with a lot of wide play through Tavernier and Semenyo. Semenyo just tried to take Godfrey on, but Godfrey handled it. It's a corner for Bournemouth at 4 minutes and 57 on my clock. So for all those watching on Twitter, it's a little bit tricky, but for those that are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe if you find this content interesting, and you'll get updates every time a show goes live. Corner coming in. It's a short one from Cook, and I think that looked quite intentional. There was a play that Norwich did yesterday that seemed quite similar, where they do a little chip down, bounce it once or twice, and Kluivert tried to get in on that. I think it was Kluivert either on the corner or on the receiving end. McNeil got knocked over in the process. That was a really interesting short corner from Bournemouth. So Cook did a little chip pass, and it was not far away. He off his right flicked it behind his left leg, but Pickford had his abdominal muscles in the right spot to block that. So good positioning from Pickford. Read the play, and all the rest of Everton playing a bit deeper. I think we're going for a throw into Everton. DCL not able to keep it in play, and Bournemouth they're back in the ball. Zabani now going on the defensive side, switching the play out to the touchline, and potentially the ball went out based on the way the play is going. So Mepham, the left center back, a little less comfortable than compared to Zabani on the ball. James Garner getting some pressure on him and winning the ball back. Yeah, Michael James, all these training drills to keep possession in every game, less than the other team. Part of that as well is how do you choose to win the ball back, and are you comfortable letting them have possession? But the real challenge for us is why can't we keep hold of the ball when we do have it, rather than let them have the ball passing around in less dangerous areas. We have a free kick right now, though. Pickford at 7 minutes 20, going to right on the 18-yard box. The header won by Bournemouth. And now a long ball up. It's a one-on-one. Godfrey against Tavernier, and Semenyo on the recovery. So we gave away a really similar type of opportunity I think it was last week, where we had a set play that ended up as a penalty from Garnacho when Godfrey did the tackle. But that was very good passing play to give Tavernier that option. That's Kluivert, number 19. But it is a I'm forgetting my words now. Sorry. Sorry, everyone. It's a corner kick. Kluivert tried to knock that ball into the middle, and James Garner did well with it. Branthwaite shielding the ball. And that was some immaturity not immaturity, but lack of experience, not trying to just knock that ball out. But we still have it with Onana, who's getting a little bit too comfortable holding possession deep. Passes it to Coleman, who hoofs it up towards Decore, who gets out-muscled. A very soft free kick right there. Tarkovsky doesn't believe it was a free kick, and neither do I. But he's saying what for, and in a good, promising position for Bournemouth right here. So I'm not going to... a lot of people might be saying either score updates or what have you. For right now, on my watch, it is 0-0, but that may change here in a second. So it's a little bit tricky to say. Potentially he's further ahead than I am, or sometimes people are going to say scores that just to get a reaction. So I'm not 100% sure right now, but based on what I'm watching, it is 0-0. But potentially he's just 2 or 3 minutes ahead of us. But there is a free kick, which makes me nervous that John might be right. But between Kluivert and Tavernier, they're trying to decide what to do. Pickford delivering instructions to Branthwaite. Looks like 4 members on the ball. 4 members in the wall, sorry. Or maybe it's 3 with a couple just on the fringes to mark the running player. So they're coming in with the strike, blocked by the wall, and now going to the left touchline. and comfortably handled. And counter-attack taken up by McNeil. Didn't have the leg speed, but was able to recover quite well. Coming up to Decore with an overrunning Godfrey. Decore coming into the middle, stumbling and needs a new pair of boots because he just face planted into the grass right there. But the recovery chip from Bournemouth was won back by Branswaite quite comfortably. McNeil on the ball. Onana looking in quite good form. The pitch looks either overwatered or quite sandy. Every time the ball hits the ground in certain pockets, you're just seeing this kind of splash zone indicating that either it's been overwatered or maybe a bit sandy to try and keep the integrity of the pitch down. But that could be playing a role on the possession too, that the ball is rolling, then all of a sudden it just gets eaten up by the water and the grass. So that'll be interesting to see if that is having an impact. But Tarkovsky comfortable on the ball, Solanke right on his tail, but handled the possession quite well. Pickford out by the touchline here, shielded by McNeil quite well actually, given to Godfrey. And now we're on the press here with James Garner on the ball, out wide to DCL, touching it back to McNeil, a short cross in. McNeil still on the ball. Yeah, Michael James, I don't think that score came through. Either incorrect or he's 10 minutes ahead of where I'm at, so hard to say. But that's why I'm just going off what I see on my fixture here, because I'll get a lot of updates through the chat on score updates, and I'll try and verify them where I can. DCL with a strike that was blocked. We have an opportunity for the corner here. So better from Everton. Onana is looking quite good on the ball. A little bit of a heavy touch by Decore trying to flick it to DCL, but a little bit better footwork from DCL. We've been talking about him being a bit cumbersome, but he started to turn on the ball where he will do that pirouette move or something like it, where the ball will tuck through his legs, and he's looking a little bit better right now. So that's a really good sign. Those kind of maneuvers he hasn't looked comfortable with, but that was promising. But we do have a corner coming in, two hands up from McNeil, so probably going back post. And back post it is. One by DCL, but second effort one by Bournemouth. And now we have a counter-attack with Semenyo taking it on and well covered by Harrison. So we give Harrison a lot of stick, but occasionally, and White Dice has him on the team. Well, Gary, if the score's going up in such a way, I suppose the reality is you can check your phone for live updates through SofaScore or any other sporting app, or you can watch along live with me. And if you can either get a potentially spoiled response from watching on the chat to the live scores, or you enjoy my reaction through my slightly echoey laptop today. And hopefully next week we'll have the microphone back up and we'll have a little bit more of a base kick every time Everton get the 3 points against any of our opposition. But today that's at Bournemouth. I'm at 13 minutes 20, and we're at 0-0. Other scores from around the grounds I'll quickly check. Pickford winning the ball comfortably. So Crystal Palace are up 1-0 against Forest. So let me update that on the ticker. That's a good result for us, and it's Jean-Philippe Mateta who scored for them. So let me update my ticker. So Nottingham Forest are away at the City Ground, but are down to Crystal Palace 1-0. So what an excellent scenario that is. We don't have to get points. All we need to do is let everyone else not get points, and we will hold on. Yeah, we're desperate for a win. Not even that when we're above the relegation zone, you don't need a win, but honestly, every point matters for positional standings and the value we get at the end of the season by where we end up. And honestly, Everton also just need some bit of momentum here. So Gary's a little bit ahead of me. So again, you'll probably get some live updates a bit before I do, but I know it's a little bit hard to pause live television. I'm at 14 minutes 40 here. So another corner kick coming in from Dwight McNeil, one hand this time, so likely a bit shorter, right by the keeper, and looks like we win another corner. And Onana wasn't as enthusiastic with the two hands. He did one. So maybe he's listened to our feedback between Chad and I. 2 live streams going up in the world. Which is the other live stream? I'm not saying you have to. Oh, Everton Rose, nice. So Coleman snuffed out that quick counter-attacking opportunity. I think Bournemouth, funny enough, have looked most dangerous when Everton have been sloppy on their set plays and someone like Semenyo just tries to outrun Godfrey or whoever else is in that defensive position. Because when they're all positioned correctly, it's not an issue for Everton to handle that because we have quite a pacey centre back in Branthwaite. But if someone else other than Branthwaite is covering in that centre back position after a set play, that's where it gets a bit tricky. And we have a little less fleet-footedness than the likes of Coleman, but he knows how to tackle. So I'm at 16 minutes 6 over here, and looked like it was either an offside or the play got called back. So Tarkovsky has a free kick right around the halfway line. Looks like a lot of players are trying to come up from the back, but they've stopped starting. Godfrey did a false run. Not sure why you would do this, but they passed it back to Pickford for a hoofball, kind of right, towards the right wing, but overhit and comfortably handled by Neto. So a bit of a head scratcher there on why they decided to go back to Pickford. One of these problems that we talk about is those are scenarios that Everton should know how to do set plays on. They didn't handle it, and they just gave the ball away. So quite frustrating, but I guess Dice Tactics are only practicing particular maneuvers, but we should be better at set plays. DCL won a pretty good header right there. Looks like Harrison or McNeil fell to the ground without a call, but we have possession still. Onana getting quite good by foot, little chip to Coleman, and then Harrison off the left. A probing cross overhit, but Zabani wasn't sure who was near him, so he flipped that out for a corner kick. So at 17 minutes and 30 seconds here, it is still 0-0 between Bournemouth and Everton. My score updates, from what I understand, Luton are winning away, as are Crystal Palace. So Crystal Palace, that result is excellent for Everton, that they're winning 1-0 at Forest at the City Ground. Yeah, and Michael James is right. Right now, they have a really worn-out squad, so they will quite likely fade in the second half, but no guarantees. So McNeil on the ball. A lot of Everton players up after that corner kick. McNeil looking for passing options, has Onana. Onana is actually starting to look quite comfortable on the ball and being a bit more progressive in his passing. He passed it to Doucouré, who's blocked from Adams. Was blocked partly by an arm, but not called as such. So a bit of annoyance from the Everton players, but it was still a throw into Everton. So we have the ball from Doucouré to McNeil. McNeil's got Onana as a pass-back option, but he doesn't seem to want to use him, and eventually does. Passes back to Branthwaite. James Garner presents himself in the middle, does a one-touch pass to Onana, who does a nice crossing. Oh, so really interesting there. Again, we're talking about the pitch conditions. The second he crossed that ball, his boot had a puddle of water fly up, and it was a shank pass that caused an overturn. So these conditions are quite interesting, and you can say poor pass by Onana, but something really dodgy for a professional stadium to have just water puddles in the middle of the pitch causing turnovers like that. Yeah. Gary's right. A lot of these scores for Luton, them and Tottenham would be an excellent game if I wasn't an Everton fan to watch right now, because I could expect that being the 7-6 match with 3 goals in extra time, the way they both play, which is really fun. A lot more fun in many respects to watching Everton play, but there is a risk and reward, and I think right now Luton are risking more than they are rewarded by their play. But credit to them for being that outgoing team. Reminded me a whole lot of Blackpool when they came up about a decade ago, going all guns blazing attacking with Charlie Adam and co. And they had I forgot the Australian winger. I think his name was like Carney. And they were quite good, but went down because they couldn't defend to save themselves, even if they could score. So we're at 20 minutes here. Not too many highlights at this point. Bournemouth, I think, have had more of the possession, but Everton are looking a bit more confident in the ball now. And Bournemouth are not trying to build up as much from the back as they were at the beginning, knowing that Everton were winning possession back from them in those positions. So it's allowed Everton to have a bit more of the ball than we were expecting at the beginning. And credit to Onana, but the whole squad is starting to look a little bit better. I'm not going to say they're good, not by Premier League standards anyway, but possession-wise. And just as I say that, James Gillick gives the ball away with a sloppy pass through the middle. Onana has actually really stood out to me, confident on the ball, a really good option, and moving the ball quite well through him. So what we've also noticed is Onana, they're not playing left, like they're not sticking to their left or their right side. Onana seems to have shifted more to the left central position, but it's more that James Garner is more of the roaming player on the ball and chasing, and then Onana plays a bit deeper in finding those gaps. So right now, for example, Onana chasing up and being part of the press at 21 minutes 30 here, and this is crossed to Semenyo, but handled by Godfrey. So a good defensive header. Godfrey wins headers, just not on set plays. So he handled Semenyo on that cross. So Everton winning the ball back. Onana again on the ball, so looking quite good there. Pass to Tarkowski. On the left wing now, Doucouré's charging through as Godfrey has an option, passes back, but Godfrey doesn't like to cross. But go figure, he did cross, but it was too short and easily won. And that's those kind of crosses are why DCL doesn't have good scoring opportunities. Godfrey can do a lot of things, but he cannot cross, and is in a fullback position. That's a critical part of the offensive portfolio that should be expected of any fullback at this level. But without Mikalenko is not a whole lot better, but he's better on his left foot than Godfrey is on his right, I would have to say. Yeah, Wormy's exactly right, or at least pretty close, with that feeling of really a slow build-up, slow burner, let's call it, this match. It is a corner for Bournemouth at 22 minutes 40. Looks like one hand up for a short corner. Doucouré, a terrible clearance, but I guess that works. He put his foot up. It seemed like it went off his studs and out of play. So another corner for Bournemouth. If they score from this following set piece by Cook, I think we'll have some questions about Doucouré's clearance skills. But here we go again. A little bit deeper this time. Tarkowski won the first header, but it was right into the back of, I believe, Semenyo, and up and over for a goal kick for us. Yeah, Gary, I think we're controlling a little bit, but I'm not sure us controlling the game gets us goals. I think them with a false sense of security, giving the ball away, and Everton quickly pouncing is going to be our way in, but maybe we're wrong. James Garner coming through in the middle. The middle of that pitch, every time a pass goes on right around the center D, I suppose you'd call it, you see puddles coming up. So James Garner nearly giving the ball away every time he's passing right there. So Onana's figured out how to compensate, overhitting the pass a little bit so it doesn't lose its zip right off the foot. James Garner with a little dink cross to the left side, but DCL offside again. Okay, so thumbs up saying good pass, but I'm not sure why DCL can't time his runs. This is a Peter. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, he is offside. So what DCL did, he went goal side and then timed his run, but was about 1 second too early from Garner's release. So he had the right idea. He wasn't just starting in offside being a lazy player. It was more a matter of expecting the release from Garner and them not having that critical, subtle communication between them and expectation when to release the ball. So DCL, again, in an offside position. But we are now at 24 minutes and 36 seconds. Everyone that's following along, thank you. We're up to 190 people watching live. So for those that are on Twitter, or X, as Elon likes to call it these days, a little bit harder for you. But if you're interested in watching this content and not and forecasting when to watch the next show. You can do that through YouTube if you subscribe to the channel. All the posts will be notified if you set that up, so you can see all the timed releases when we do go live. So Gary, I haven't seen the possession stats, but that wouldn't surprise me. I think what's interesting is Bournemouth are more comfortable on the ball, but they don't feel that they can really break down the structure of Everton. So instead, they're saying, Everton, you guys have the ball, so that when you make a mistake, we score against you. So a little bit the same way that when we were against United, little cheap free kick from Decore with his hands there. And Coleman doesn't look in good condition. I'm not sure if it's in injury or just some contact. So he's sitting down at the ground here at 25-45. Let's have a look. So Tavernier was taken on Harrison. Then Decore comes in. Very weak contact. Oh, okay. So there, Kirkes, when he falls to the ground, accidentally kind of swings his boots up in the air after being knocked over. And as he kind of swings up, he actually studs Coleman, but at least that's not an injury. Not sure what you're saying, Gary, on Puddle of Mud. I feel like the stadium plays like that right now. But it's more like a puddle of wet grass. Anyone that's played at a stadium or no stadium, any pitch, oh geez. McNeil playing a little bit risky there, but held on to possession back to Pickford and back in Bournemouth's possession. Bournemouth are falling over a whole lot and asking for free kicks for any hand contact. I know they often get those kind of plays, but very weak contact here. So they didn't no call. So it looks like an Everton throw in here at 26 minutes 50. Didn't really lead to much. DCL shielding the ball pretty well, but he was double teamed. Garner winning the ball back. Harrison chasing. Across from Neto, handled generally well by Godfrey, but the second effort was won by, I think it was Tavernier up in the middle, but won back by Everton. Their manager seems either ticked off with that being a cheap free kick, or I'm not even sure. Oh, yeah, okay. That was a pretty soft free kick. Godfrey got goal side. Semenyo touched his shoulder and he fell over. Semenyo, if Bournemouth don't stay up or Everton somehow have a splash of cash that Bournemouth don't, he'd be a really exciting winger option after we likely don't have Danjuma next year or Harrison. A lot more like the Jeremy Doku style running at players, but clearly not worth the same value as Doku, but quite an exciting player, honestly. Brown played on the ball, gave it away, but the deflection went back to Everton. He was a little bit too complacent, waiting on the release, and Semenyo took it off him. Bournemouth have the ball again, back to Semenyo on the right side, but triple team between Onana, Godfrey, and McNeil, as Onana's playing more of the left central midfielder generally. Garner's playing the link-up player with Coleman and Harrison on the right. So back to Semenyo. Pass through the middle and a little bit overhit on the first touch from Lewis Cook, who's probably annoyed at himself as much as he is anyone else. So I'm not sure if there are any other score updates. Let me check through that on my wonderful phone here. It appears that the scores remain unchanged. So Crystal Palace with Jean-Philippe Mateta scoring against Forest at the City Ground, up 1-0. And Luton are up 1-0 against Spurs after 30 minutes. And it is now 29 minutes on my clock. So on the pre-match with Steve and Mabsy, I was saying that you don't have to go to the match. You can actually hear the reflection because of how tin pot the stadium is. But yeah, I don't mind there's not that many fans in the crowd. What you really want is a professional pitch. Luton had to spend a whole bunch of money to have heating installed under the grass when it's cold, and they had a delayed start to the season because of it. They had to play all away games to start the season. And if Bournemouth can't water their pitch correctly, that's kind of sad and not really to PL standards. But it's hard to say off an iPad if it's really making an impact, but certain spots are in the middle seem to have low spots. There was a foul by Dominic Solanke on Onana. I don't think it warranted a yellow, but maybe that's me not being in the heart of the game by being there in person. But Onana is notorious for any contact and rolling around like he got shot by some kind of weapon. But Onana has been actually a real standout, I think, in a pretty mucky, competitive without really an edge happening in this whole affair. I think Onana has held the ball pretty well, and if anyone watched him for Belgium against England, he's doing what he needs to do without being that key, like, breaking the lines player. He is starting to pass the ball more consistently, a little bit better, and positionally in the right spots to win the ball back quite a lot. So he's been good today. James Garner, a little bit less involved. He's winning the ball back and then charging through, trying to be that box to box and giving the ball away far too often for my liking. And his passing through the middle has been a little bit under hit, but I think that might be stadium conditions. Onana's been chipping the ball a little bit more than passing on the ground now, I'm noticing. So the winger play, it's been okay. Harrison has only had a couple defensive opportunities to help out, but really hasn't done a whole lot. Here's a chance for Tarkowski. DCL. Oh, that was close. I'm at 31 minutes 30 here. Neto covered it. Tarkowski went forward for once after a much better handled free kick play by Everton here. So very similar to the one that I was complaining about earlier in the first half, where you had Pickford or Tarkowski taking it, then he gives it back to Pickford. This time Pickford took it directly. Tarkowski wins the first play and knocks it to DCL. So we have a corner here. Tarkowski is kind of blocking out the run on DCL to give him a free pass. DCL ran to the front post, but the cross goes to the back post, won by Tarkowski, and looks like a painful one with a couple Everton players rolled onto the Betway sporting strip. Onana on the ground there, and I think Taki got up a little faster. But that was interesting because DCL had the front post line of it, which I imagine you have DCL coming front post, Taki going back post. Taki wins it, and he brings back to front post for DCL, but went out of play instead. So sort of back post, front post, create your space. Yeah. Well, back then they weren't in the Premier League that often, were they? I forget what their first season was, but they weren't a regular mainstay in the Premier League until, well, they stayed up 2 years in a row. Likely to stay up 2 years in a row now. So again, credit to them. And you're mentioning Danjuma. Yeah, he's out injured, but on his way back and in training this week anyway. Everton have the ball on 33 minutes on the right wing from DCL, and looks like Kirk has let Meffam handle that. So it's a throw into Everton. Let's see what they do with it. I know now with Coleman throwing the ball in, maybe it's a little bit more progressive than when Godfrey's in that right back position, and indeed it is. And we actually get a cross from it. A bit short, but more promising. So instead of Godfrey just simply, I'm going back to keeper and starting again, little 1-2 with Coleman, and it looked like Harrison allowed Coleman to actually cross the ball. So really like seeing Coleman back in the squad for such reasons. We actually have possession of the football a little bit, which is really nice. And the problem there was the crossing quality. Onana again winning the ball back in the middle. First time touch to DCL. Now Doucouré on the ball, passing to McNeil. And if he only had a right foot, yeah, it doesn't really ring. But that build-up play started with Onana, a really good one-touch pass from Onana to DCL, out to Doucouré, passing it to an open McNeil, who kind of over-pulled his strike on the left foot. But that was, if he had a right foot, that was quite likely on target and more impactful. But Celavi, he has a left foot only. Godfrey looking pretty comfortable, blocking the play, but kicked it out of bounds. Throw in to Solanke, double teamed by Branthwaite and Godfrey here. Semenyo now with a cross in to the back post. No one there, but someone was on the edge of the 18-yard box for Bournemouth. They have possession still. to Lewis Cook. Looks like maybe Meffam on the ball, and they give it away. So here's another chance for Everton. First touch, and yep, Meffam took a nice shoulder to the lower coccyx of Calvert-Lewin, and we won a free kick right around the halfway line. So really good hold-up play from DCL. He's holding, and then he turns left, and the defender didn't know much to do with him, so knocked him over. So if there's enough of those, that's a yellow card, but not enough contact on that one play, and he wasn't in on goal, so there's no way he's getting a booking. Another set play that didn't really work out, little dink over the top, slightly overhit for a charge into Corey, so it went back to Neto. And here at 35 minutes 45, it is Bournemouth 0 and Everton 0. So not an overwhelmingly exciting first half, but also not one that Everton look in any way outplayed. It's more a matter of how do they, when they do get counter-attacking opportunities, how are they more clinical? And it's really a game of both teams don't really want possession because they're not looking that impactful when they have it. It's more about the team out of possession, winning the ball back and exposing the rest defense of either squad not being in a position to handle it. But then Bournemouth have looked better, I think, than Everton when having possession. When winning possession back through the likes of Semenyo and Kluivert in particular. Solanke's been there, but it hasn't dropped to him at any point. Doucouré is looking a little bit better than he had done prior to. Oh, that's a very cheap and lazy foul. But it looks like it was Che Adams knocked over there. So a free kick at 36 minutes 50. I just gave Doucouré kudos for looking a little better, and it looks like either it's a lack of fitness or he's walking. It almost looks like he's running with a limp everywhere, but he's getting to that location, and then he's dangling a foot out, dangling a hand out, making a little bit of contact with a very cheap free kick ensuing with Bournemouth falling all over the place. But the contact was there. It was given. And it's a free kick to Bournemouth on their left side. Everton's defensive line is just at about the 19-yard mark. Looks like Lewis Cook taking it. Nope, Tavernier. Nope, Lewis Cook. And going to the back post. And I think overhit by Cook there because he seemed annoyed and it didn't seem like Semenyo was expecting it. So that was an interesting one where you had they're showing the replay now. Tavernier starts in an offside position and then runs directly back at Tarkowski, drops an elbow into him so he can't be in the play, and then they fall over. So that'd be really interesting if Tarkowski could have impacted that play and they scored. I think VAR may have overturned that one, but hard to say. Didn't impact us anyway. It's an underwhelming, but hey, a point's the point right now. We're certainly not looking like a bad outfit today. But if I hear that it's about XG, I call BS. We just can't convert. The second we win the ball back, we can't. We're not fast enough and clinical enough in the final third still. And whenever we do have the ball, it's Onana or James Garner through the middle with Branthwaite looking pretty good. One-touch passing with DCL and Doucouré, and it breaks down after about the third or fourth player in possession, knowing how to cross the ball or taking on a man. Everyone looks really good when they're doing one-touch passing, and then it just breaks down. So it's pass in your triangle, but then it's the pass and move element, and whoever's moving to that new position, sometimes struggling to hold the ball, is that sort of third or fourth person in possession in the chain. So I'm at 39 minutes 11. It looks like it's going to be a throw-in on the Everton attacking, I guess, right wing about that 19-yard mark. Seamus Coleman has looked quite confident on that side. His crossing hasn't been great, but it's a lot more progressive play, and it allows for Harrison and the possession game on that side to look a little bit better. Coleman also a lot of hand gestures on like controlling the positional game for Everton. I imagine having a leader next to Tarkowski on that right side is certainly going to help the likes of James Garner and Harrison. But the distribution from both of those two guys haven't been good enough today so far. Been quite scrappy. I imagine there might be not fisticuffs, but a bit more altercation the way this game's going, where it's just argy-bargy without anyone breaking through, and a couple of set plays where people are bumping into each other, but not the sexy flowing football that I would expect from the total football of Ange Postecoglou, a fellow Aussie for Tottenham Hotspur, or Luton rolling the roulette wheel or Russian roulette, let's say, of they have 4 bullets in the chamber and they don't know if they're losing 4-0 or drawing 2-2 with how forward thinking they play and giving the ball away in cheap positions. Speaking of which, Branthwaite being very good there. Little chip and he slides, controlling it with his thigh off a funny spin and gives it to Godfrey and back to Pickford. So we're looking quite comfortable in possession defensively. Sometimes we don't. I think having Coleman back is really good for having lots of communication, a really good part. Bournemouth players to get there, and he's like, I got the ball, but he also wiped out 2 Bournemouth players with his long legs and got a yellow card for his troubles. So I'm at 41 minutes 25. My prediction of a bit of argy-bargy might be happening. Taki, always up for a bit of a fight, is shown up there. And what's interesting is just before that tackle, Doucouré was kind of manhandled by 2 players, but in all honesty, Onana's foul was more obvious than the foul against Doucouré. Onana looked a little bit like he wanted to force Everton to win the ball hell or high water. It's a good question. I'm not sure. Is 7 chamber roulette ever really allowed, or the 7 slot revolver? Maybe, I don't know. I'm not a gun guy. Anyway, it's 42 minutes 10. Another set piece from about halfway through on the Everton's defensive side on the left. Another terrible cross by Lewis Cook. Maybe we can. Maybe he's their James Garner. He can do it, but all of a sudden he can't. He either overhits or underhits. They cross out wide to Semenyo. It's a 1-on-1 v Godfrey. Semenyo flicking his hair around, doing a couple of step overs, tuck into the middle. First time pass to Branthwaite, had it covered. Oh, that's not a penalty, ref. No way. Okay, no penalty called, but this was a bit close. Their player came down. I think it was Tavernier's number 18. He fell a bit too easy for me, and I think they saw it too. But Branthwaite could call himself a little lucky. He was not goal side. His first tackle, he got to the ball first, and then it hit off Tavernier. Then Tavernier shields the ball. Branthwaite's got his hand over him a bit, but he was very careful not to over touch, let's say. So he made little contact with him, and then he fell forward from the shielded position. It's a corner for Bournemouth, though, won by Taki quite convincingly, flicked out from right to left, but won back by, it appears, maybe Tavernier. No, not Tavernier. I'm still struggling with some of the numbers here. Apologies. The number 15 has it, crossing into the middle. Back post, it was a 2v1. Are they going to strike it? Bournemouth are looking quite dangerous here. But Everton just need, okay, we'll take it. James Garner was looking for a nice, cheap free kick, but very quick long ball by Pickford and unsuccessful. So this game is starting to open up and get a little bit wild, honestly. Harrison might get a yellow for his slide tackle there. James Garner goes in for a tackle, and Bournemouth again are just any contact, and they're just diving and trying to face plant in this soft Bournemouth grass, and they're looking for nice cheap free kicks, and they're getting them. So they may have Harrison's slide tackle on Kirkes shown here, but James Garner did a little bit of an arm barge on the back of Solanke. And anytime you're not goal side or the striker is goal side and you give them contact, it's not a surprise to see a free kick. So it's another free kick for Bournemouth, and it's between Smith and Cook on who takes it this time. Looks like it might be Cook again, so let's see what happens this time. A little short free kick routine there. Went to the back post, and Solanke has it. Goes for the back heel, and a lot of people screaming that it was their ball, but Solanke appears to have backheeled off an Everton player for a free kick to Bournemouth. They have 2 minutes of extra time here. Yeah, it looks like it was deflected off Coleman. But at the corner is 5-4, so it's not. I think it's more about momentum right now. Semenyo. Okay, that was close. Semenyo could have won that. It was a little bit sloppy on his first touch, and then I believe Coleman felt a little bit of contact being goal side and face planted himself. And credit to the referee for being consistent, I suppose. But no, that was Decore fell to the ground. So 45 minutes 50 here. It's probably getting very close to halftime for those that that have a different time zone than me on the game. Not exactly a 7-hour time delay to the UK, but maybe it's 1 minute offset from what I'm watching here in the USA, or officially off Peacock. But I'm sure those that are watching through Sky, the non-dodgy boxes, or whatever source you have, you might be here at halftime at 0-0. But at the moment, I'm at 46 minutes 20. Oh, Toffington. I agree. I think the only silver lining is some of the players look like they have more confidence than they did previously. DCL's looked a little bit better. Onana is in better form, I think. But it's not enough to say, hey, we had 3 weeks off on the training pitch. All the wonderful goal-scoring video content that the Everton official website showed from the Thursday training doesn't mean squat, if you can't convert. But right now, neither team can convert. And I think here at halftime, they've just blown the whistle. It's 0-0. But honestly, I think we could expect a really open second half the way this is turning out. But for right now, it is 0-0. Let me check some of the scores. And, okay. So Burnley are down to 10 men, which is great for Everton. And Chelsea are up 1-0. So they are nearly finished at halftime. Sorry if I'm reading off my phone, but that's how I can get some quick info. So Cole Palmer scored a penalty on 44 minutes. There was a disallowed VAR goal for Everton as well. Sorry, not for Everton, for Chelsea, from Axel Disasi. And there were 2 yellow cards, one at 16 minutes and one at 40 minutes, to Lorenz Assignon for Burnley. So they are down to 10 men, and right around halftime for Chelsea, they are up 1-0. So let me update that on the banner. So what are your thoughts, Blues? Or maybe you're a Cherry fan, or maybe you just like hearing an Australian talk about Premier League out of his Airbnb here in Mesa, Arizona. So Bournemouth, yeah, if any Bournemouth fans are watching, they may not be hearing my enthusiasm of Bournemouth relative to Everton, but everyone's welcome to tag along. So right now, I updated the banner, but I didn't repost it. Apologies there. So that's where we're at. Chelsea are down, up 1-0, while Burnley are down to 10 men. 0-0 for Sheffield and Fulham at Sheffield, which is a bit surprising knowing how bad Sheffield are at home, but maybe they actually did some progressive improvements after 3 weeks. Luton are ahead 1-0 after an early goal by, I can't say his name correctly to save my life. His name is Chong. Is it Tyreek Chong? Tahith Chong. Yeah. I had a little sigh before I responded back, but Israel Blue, yeah, it was exhausting. I'm sure there's musical albums where you talk about wanting something, but you can't, but you don't, but everything seems blocked and there's no clear path. I think for both teams, it's very much like that. So Wormy's got a bit of a more descriptive one. So what you're seeing here, as I said, some awful football from Daesh. We are slowed. We're slowed. No one moves. We constantly pass back and boot it long, pointlessly, constantly getting caught on the ball. Daesh is awful. Yeah, and I think that's quite true. What I do feel though is that we have. Before I go back, I'm going to tie in. Yeah, thank you for listening along, Robbie. Yeah, we are playing poor. The only silver lining is I think we are doing slightly better in possession. Decore is looking better, DCL is looking better, but I'm talking about you're a 3.5 out of 10 rather than a 2.5 or incremental improvements. Decore still looks very injured, but he's getting to the ball. I would not be shocked if we need to sub him off though, the way he's moving. There's a couple highlights here that, again, underwhelming on a 0-0. But I think Everton's best chances, and Bournemouth, funny enough, are by either set plays or how poor your team's set play is to then counterattack with over investment from the attacking side, with their players up high and central defenders and fullbacks up in advanced positions, and the likes of a Semenyo looking to expose a Jack Harrison or a Seamus Coleman on the turnover. But right near the end there, I think Bournemouth were looking a lot more dangerous, and we may have got away with one with a penalty, but I didn't think we were actually they were not justified penalty shouts, but they're allowed to fall over. That's especially if they water their own grass, they won't get bruised when they fall over. They cushion their own landing here at Vitality Stadium. And Derek, a good friend of mine from Perth, Australia, says very boring game. They look clueless, but either loose with clues or maybe clueless. But yeah, they don't seem to. The only way that we're looking dangerous at all is when we ask the other team to come at us. They accept, and we try and turn the ball over. So going back to Wormy's point, as I said, an awful football by Daesh. We are slow, no one moves, we constantly pass back and boot it long pointlessly, constantly getting caught on the ball. Daesh is awful. So yeah, I think the short passing, and I'm not sure if I've overkilled how wet the stadium looks in the middle, but a lot of just a little bit Crystal Palace, like when we watched that game where the ball just kept getting turned over in the middle. But instead of it being hoof and bounce ball, it's a little bit more on the ground. And then the opposite, either team will trap through the middle and the ball gets turned over. Long balls have been comfortably controlled by Tarkovsky and Branthwaite all day, in my view. And a fellow Everton colleague, I believe this would be Ryan, that Bournemouth are there for the taking. Absolutely they are. No doubt the real question is how do we break them down? And maybe it goes to Wormy's point. Maybe it's just shake up how you're approaching the game. Now, knowing that Bournemouth are going to give you the ball, how do you play possession football, get a cross in? Seamus Coleman occasionally gets into the positions. His crosses haven't been good enough. I haven't seen enough on the left side crossing-wise from McNeil, honestly. He's there, but he hasn't really stood out. He's just been part of the messy, muddy possession football. We're turning it over a whole bunch between ourselves, and he's certainly part of that. His best chance, because he didn't have a right foot, went away. So another point from Toffee Man. Daesh is a dinosaur. Football has moved on from the 80s. The sooner this manager goes, the better. He totally clueless. So I can agree in large parts. To say he's totally clueless is unfair. He knows how to set up in a very particular way, which means he has a clue, but he doesn't have a clue the second hey, if they're going to try and take us on, we look excellent today. But the problem is Bournemouth realized that, and they went to their plan B of, okay, let's hoof the ball up to Everton. What are you going to do, guys? Take us on. What are you going to do? We don't have an answer. So we don't have a plan B. And I think he certainly lacks the dynamism of some of these new managers like, is it Areola, the manager here from Bournemouth, where he had a plan B. Daesh reacts to the other team's changes rather than him being proactive. So Either we ask for slap from Tazul, either we're slapping the managers. I don't think slapping Patterson on the bench is going to be a positive improvement on the match, but who knows? Maybe. Yeah. Whoops. I accidentally think I removed a post. Oh, no, sorry. From Israel Blue, you're saying everything gets turned into a 50-50. Yeah. Like, those players, and we've all been there when we don't think we have the skill to take someone on. So you pass it to the opposition just so you can tackle it back off them, and then you pass them. I feel like we're watching Everton do that kind of maneuver quite a lot. So knowing I've got another half to cover here, let's quickly go on to what Ryan's asking. So we have 223 people watching. So thank you for everyone watching. Appreciate your interest in Follow Everton and the content I have, even when I'm in my echoey borrowed room at an Airbnb here in Mesa, Arizona, with some, American flag. There we go. And a nice plane instead of my normal studio setup with a Tim Cahill book and legacy. Either way, though, if you are not subscribed to Follow Everton, the best way to do that is through YouTube. And I can update the ticker here with the Follow Everton premium subscriber link, where you can actually join Follow Everton. If you go onto the page, Follow Everton, and go onto the membership options, if you wanted to donate to be part of the channel, you can then have comments if you're a premium subscriber, like one of regulars that joined recently in Gary, where you'll actually get to see, if you're on YouTube, you'll see an Everton badge, very similar to this one, but in blue. Or when your posts come up, you'll see this sort of S in an O-ring popped up. So those are premium subscribers. If you don't have the finances for that, any interest in the show is great, because if you wanted to figure out what you're doing for the rest of the weekend and you've got a couple hours and you're trying to see, what do I do at 7 p.m. in UK? Maybe you'll see something tomorrow that will be scheduled between Chad and I to do a debrief, now that he may not be able to join us right after this match. So he may join me tomorrow. I may make a posting and say, everyone be ready for 7 o'clock in UK. The only way for you to see that is not going, oh, wait, it just happened to me on Twitter or Facebook and it's live. You'll actually be able to get notifications if you follow us. So we're trying to grow the channel. I'm out here in the US. We have Chad out in Ohio as well. We're trying to do a lot of interesting content for you guys. And the best way to grow is through liking, subscribing, and just generally, thank you for everyone being involved here. But instead of me going on a more of a preach for right now, I'm going to go grab a coffee so I can seem equally enthusiastic for the second half. So I will leave us with some nice cool elevator music while we do this. So I'll talk to you shortly. Okay, after some lovely elevator music, I thought I would come right back in. So, some questions from the panel or panel of those that choose to comment. So let's start with Derek. But first, this is the setup right now. We're right about to kick off the second half. This is the lineup right now and what the stats are looking like. So the real standouts, I guess, Pickford to me, Onana was actually quite solid. Decore and DCL were better without being great. Godfrey did fine. Coleman was quite good in possession until he had to cross. Are about to kick off though. So what I'll do is go talk us back through the match. So Everton are now kicked off to the second half. Didn't take long for a uneventful, I believe, goal kick. I'm at 45 minutes 20 here. To Gary's point, all is forgiven if we get points. I think we've largely accepted that's what we need from Daesh. Yeah. Maybe it's not anything on the lineup. Maybe it's the matter of there's a lot of. I think this match could really open up real quick here if we're not careful. But is that a good or a bad thing? I think when the match opened up, Everton were giving away some sloppy free kicks, and Bournemouth looked more dangerous than us. So we've been asking for the likes of Chimiti. I would love to see that too. I guess the question, I don't think DCL has been bad so far. I think part of the problem is how do you bring DCL into the game? Is it his job to be what he's doing quite comfortable, like one touch passing and passing, like right now at 46 minutes 20, his first touch was actually excellent to Decore, who then the problem is he passed him into a channel. So either it was a bad selection from DCL, there were no options, and Decore was the only one. He was stuck on the left wing, and then you know what happened? Out for a throw in. So a lot of excellent first touch. What's your second touch? Who's your next player? Are we really playing 3 steps ahead, which you need to do at a professional level to break teams down? We're not. So we need, and if any of you watch the training videos in the week, they were all about scoring in transition. They showed about 10 minutes, it seemed, of the striker would be running in on goal on a 2v2. There would be a nice, easy goal, and then they would have to defend quickly. So a lot of the focus has been on transition, at least from what they were showing us as fans. I'm sure they're not showing all the tactics, but if they're focusing on transition and they give us the ball, what are we doing? That's not going to help us. Yeah, as Tazul saying, even our XG is poor today. I'm at 47 minutes 35. Let me update the ticker. Or bring it back on anyway. So, that's not correct at all. I don't think. Oh no, that's right. I saw nil, and I realized I was looking at the Everton Bournemouth match, which is still 0-0. So 236 people following. That's fantastic, and thank you. So Bournemouth are on the left side. Coleman handling Tavernier quite comfortably. Decore putting him into a bit of a trap and holding himself off by the corner flag. And you know what? Seamus Coleman has some years on him. He knows how to manufacture a throw in, so he did just that. Yeah. Well, they don't respond to insults and they don't respond to compliments. Everton just need a moral victory, and I think a lot changes. Harrison is in on goal, passing to Decore. Oh, I was getting excited for a little bit too long there. It was a bit of a hit, but we still have the ball. Harrison looking to cross it, passes it back to Godfrey, to Amadou Onana, passes it back to Harrison, opposite-footed cross to DCL, who keeps it in. He's got Coleman as a pass-back option. Coleman didn't go first time. He overhits a back pass to McNeil, who's covering on the right wing since Harrison's on the left currently. To Braithwaite, little chip ball. Oh my God, the field is looking even more watered than the first half. And led to Branthwaite's poor possession there, and it's a turnover to Everton. Against Everton. Solanke on the ball, crosses through, back first time block to Solanke to Semenyo. He's looking for passing options. He's got Cook. He's going to strike the ball now, blocked. But unfortunately, the ball went right to McNeil. And there's another strike covered by Pickford. Yeah, I'm not sure for those that are watching I know it's hard in the UK, but for those that are watching live, are you guys noticing what I am, that especially in the middle of the field, every time the ball is touched, there's a splash puddle on the field. It's wild. I thought they would do a better job in the second half, but sometimes they double down on the plan of, well, if we watered first half, we have to water at halftime. Before first half, we have to water at halftime too. Everton have been winning the ball back here, and we have James Garner getting slightly fouled and Tavernier saying, "Hey, my bad, it was a foul." So this all kind of stemmed from. Oh, they're just showing a highlight. Of Tavernier's strike. Pickford handled it comfortably. I think any professional keeper should be able to cover their front post. It's always the back post that's a bit tougher. If you get beaten in your front post, that's your fault. So handled comfortably. Michael James, I don't disagree. I think right now, though, is that financially the right time is, does a new manager boost truly help us, or is that just all hype and we get 3 points and then we don't have a good option and we have to buy out his clause and we have to bring in a new team, and that's a financial situation that we're kind of holding off on until 777, or as we mentioned, MSP potentially end up getting majority ownership if the ask is correct off their tweet today. It appears, at least from my SofaScore app, that Luton are now not up 1-0 anymore. I'm not sure if anyone else has been watching that, but it appears that Tottenham equalized. So here in a moment, I will talk us through the score update there. So to throw in right at the halfway line at 51 minutes 45, and it appears as if who scored? Also, Burnley have equalized, it appears as well. Potentially, it's an own goal. They haven't, on SofaScore, they say there's a score change without who scored it yet. So I think it might still be in very fresh. But Burnley and Chelsea as well. Josh Cullen scored for Burnley. And it was an own goal by Issa Kabore at Tottenham. So that was the update there. And Josh Cullen equalized with an assist from Josh Brownhill for Burnley on 47 minutes. A good thing I didn't decide to focus on a Chelsea fantasy football player this week in Malo Gusto, huh? Seamus Coleman doing an excellent job doing a recovery run where Solanke came through. James Garner now on the left side, a chip ball to about the halfway line, unsuccessful. But I know if you're playing percentages and you don't want to give the ball away in a critical area, playing on the wing isn't the worst thing. But that was actually a really clever touch by Solanke there. He completely exposed Tarkovsky, and Coleman went out of position to cover and left Tavernier open. So credit to Coleman for knowing how to commit. Yeah, Toffee Man, exactly right. 1-1 equalizer there. So not the result we want, but honestly, if we are getting beat by Burnley, that's we are then also losing to Forest at that point to make it competitive. So that's if we're worried about Burnley, we're talking about another points deduction, which, well, don't Tottenham. So Tottenham didn't do the scoring themselves. They just induced one of the tired, low morale Luton players to have an own goal. So that's probably more impactful to if you're expecting a good result against Tottenham. If they're doing an own goal, maybe that's a very quick to a 2-1 Tottenham lead away at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Semenyo looking threatening, but double teamed between Godfrey and Garner, so they passing it back around the 20, just outside the 18-yard box. Here's an opportunity. James Garner, first time, past the DCL, but it's DCL against the two center halves with no one else up. This is really, if I do a video analysis of that later, it is embarrassing. Everton, DCL ran up, McNeil ran up, and 10 Burnley players or 8 Burnley players came back, and none of the Everton players ran forward. That was a perfect time for a counter-attacking opportunity. And we just didn't. Yeah, it's going to be hard to show you guys, but if you were watching that, you'll see DCL on his own against 6 or 7 Bournemouth players. And you realize, in kids football, you tell people, don't bunch up. The smart footballers know where the space is and stand there. No Everton player tried. They all just decided, let Bournemouth have the ball. I'm not sure if that's Dyche. That seems like a Dyche thing to say, no, you do not run after the ball. You stay in your position. If that's the case, that was really frustrating to watch. There is a penalty shout on DCL. I'm not sure if they're calling this or not, but Che Adams definitely next DCL in the box. So I'm at 53 minutes 37. James Garner next through. If they didn't call it a penalty. To me, I think that was a penalty, but it was right on the edge. But there was definitely contact. We've seen those called all year. And, that was earlier on in the year. I was, not even that long ago, saying DCL doesn't manufacture a penalty, but Beto does. DCL is looking a little better. And I'm not saying he's a 10 out of 10, an 8 out of 10. I think he's a 6 today, but he's been making a bit more impact and making the Bournemouth defenders a bit nervous, and he manufactured a penalty. It just unfortunately wasn't called. So it's a corner kick here at 56 minutes 30 for Bournemouth. One hand up, little stutter steps, and almost certainly overhit. Anytime it's a one hand that goes to the back post and no one's there, you really can you can bank on that being the wrong cross. A little touch from Tavernier to Cliver to Semenyo, and blocked by Branthwaite into the appreciative arms of Pickford. So the bench player for the England squad doing quite well there. Yeah, so Wormy, I think you're talking about the same play, and I'm still trying to figure out how to correctly and legally do like video analysis or annotation of games and getting the right content. But if we can capture that moment for anyone watching or ever does a replay, that was a damning moment for me, and I'll probably talk about that in the match post-match as well. And Kadeem, how is it not a pen? Oh, sorry. Great. There we go. How is it not a pen? I think it was. That doesn't mean the referee saw it that way, and maybe it was just enough contact or just insufficient contact to not overturn. But Everton are looking a bit more dangerous here. There's one of the better crosses I've seen today. If they show a replay of it, I can give you the name. I think it was James Garner. Yeah, first time. That's exactly what we've been asking for. So it was passed back. He rolls it to his right foot. First time cross, right between, it looked like Zabani and DCL and Neto to make it really uncomfortable for their keeper. And it led to a corner kick. Those are the kind of moments we really need. Didn't even go to VAR. I'm not listening to the audio, so hard to tell. I know Dave is listening in from Jamaica, so he may get a second piece of content here. Barry, I'm not sure. You may have to elaborate what you mean by channel. Oh, wow, that was close. They're showing the replay right now. I didn't think it went that close. The rare time McNeil actually struck on his right foot. He struck it, hit the post, it spun back into play. But Everton are looking the more dangerous right now. Until I say that, I do the commentator's curse. Jack Harrison falls on his tiny hiney and kicks it way over the bar and lets Bournemouth reset. But that penalty shout, Oh, it really is tricky because on some of these angles, yeah, you can see there was contact, but it was such limited like contact. Oh, Dave's calling in from South Africa. Love it. Yeah. One of my best friends who's getting married this year, he's with his fiance in South Africa right now. If you do happen to see him, say hello to Josh for me. Um, but outside of South African chat, it is 59 minutes 50 here. Ben Godfrey doing his best to imitate an Onana and James Garner pass back to the fullback or to the keeper, and then a hoofball, won immediately by Everton, by Bournemouth. So I think he's in Cape Town, not Joburg, Dave. So maybe it's next time. James Garner looking a little bit better on a 1-2 to McNeil to DCL, and couldn't get it out of his feet in time. But the game is opening up. I think Everton are looking, unlike the end of the first half where Bournemouth in this kind of sloppy match were looking more dangerous. I think DCL, no, he would have been offside anyway, but there was a bit of better link-up play. It's still a little bit overhit and sloppy. Maybe he did. I don't know. I'm on mute so I can hear my own voice. Not ego, but if I don't hear my own voice, then I can't hear my own audio. So if there's any other audio content other than you guys listening to me that you think is worth passing on, feel free to interject it there in the comments. Decore to DCL. Yeah, what I was going to say just before I got distracted there, I think Everton have looked a little bit better up front with the passing play, but it's a little bit too heavy. So Wezo's saying the commentator says it should have been a pen. So I'm curious if that was Stephen Pienaar, the South African, giving you that commentator content over there. But yeah, it certainly seemed like it should have been a penalty. Believing you can achieve. You know, I probably need a personal trainer to get me back into some better fitness. Those are the kind of quotes I would expect, Gary. Thank you. So it looks like Coleman was beat there, but the strike from Bournemouth was a little bit past the post. I'm here at 62 minutes. Tavernier is looking relatively dangerous. Semenyo hasn't had much of an impact, and Solanke on occasion has shown his silky skills, but the main opportunity for him was handled by Coleman. Yeah, I'm not sure if Jeremy, you're referencing that one in the first half. I think the DCL one was a little bit more of a pen, but again, they're in that sort of gray area where they're not like hands down pens, but I think the DCL one was a pen, and this one, and again, it's tricky because as a toffee, of course, I'm going to say that the DCL one wasn't. I try to be like away from it, but if it's the same one, he was holding his shirt, let go, hold his shirt, let go. That's called defending. The one against DCL was contact against his leg as he changed direction, and that should be a penalty to me. Yeah, and Robbie as well saying if we stay up, it's luck, not merit. Every single blue or grey on the pitch is a millionaire. And what do they offer us fans? Right now, I would say the only thing they're offering for us is positional discipline and unwillingness to change. But what that's allowing is at least we're holding the ball. Semenyo coming here at 63 minutes 30. Contact and not called. Semenyo running through the middle, going to Tavernier. Who's he going to release to? Number 5 on the left side. Across in and handled by Dominic Solanke. If you're talking about on the build-up play, Wes, I'm not 100% sure if that was a foul or not, but our player certainly went down. So Forrest scoring as well. When it rains, it pours. So let's update the ticker. but not the score update I wanted to do. We have Bournemouth 1, Everton 0. I would prefer, I'm not sure, I haven't had many toffees in my life. But if we did share the spoils, at least maybe there's a cherry flavored toffee hybrid. That sounds disgusting, but that was a good cross. But how did Tarkovsky backing up? Coleman wasn't able to block it. Okay, so Branthwaite and Tarkovsky were a little bit too committed on that right side, and it led to Tarkovsky trying to back up and not being able to track behind himself. And of course, it was Ben Godfrey trying to mark Solanke. Solanke does not score headers against us if it wasn't for the matter of Branthwaite and Tarkovsky being out of position there. So that's one of those we'll have to look back and see, was it correct for them to both try and help Seamus Coleman on that right side? Because the fact that all match Solanke is looked covered, and I've said that pre-match that there's no way Tarkovsky is losing a heading competition against Solanke, but Solanke's not a bad header of the ball. The problem is the second you rely on Godfrey to win a header in his defensive area, he is losing every time, and he did again. So let's do some other score updates before I'm not sure if that helps. Wow, a lot of score updates here. We talked about Forest equalising, but we also have some updates for the Sheffield match, which is kind of interesting. So Chris Wood, with an assist of Morgan Gibbs-White, has made it 1-1 for Nottingham Forest. The other update is going to be on the Fulham match. I blinked and a whole lot has changed there. So let me go ahead and change that fixture because that's getting quite a few updates. We have Sheffield, I believe, is up 2-1 against Fulham. Not that Sheffield is going to be part of our relegation consideration, but I suppose credit to the competitiveness of Sheffield that they're not getting pantsed at home. They're showing replays of the Solanke header. It was a good header, but it was really unmarked. So it's all about how does someone get a free header in that critical area, and it's all about two centre halves being out of position. Yeah. So right now, I guess the question is if Bournemouth decide to play deep, I think DCL has more of an impact by lots of crosses and lots of little touches. But Beto is going to be more impactful when Bournemouth play that high line and a lot more energy. Because if it's just ruffling shirts in the box, I don't see it. But I'll go back to the game rather than just moaning about woe is Everton here for a minute. Amadou Onana on the ball. Little chip pass, and why do I even talk about it? It was overhit to DCL. DCL kind of says, calm it down, but immediately, and again, this pitch is so poor. The second he released it, there was a spray of water or sand coming right off the ball. So part of the problem of why we're overhitting some of these is if we pass a simple pass, it either kind of has backspin off when you release it, or the ball dies and doesn't get to the player, and then it becomes you can't distribute it without chipping the ball around, which makes it kind of hard to anticipate. And that was actually an example right there with Onana. But again, Onana overhit that. Even with that, you're a professional, you should know how to compensate. Looks like there was contact, and we have Branthwaite holding his left side of the face. Referee checks, is he okay? He kind of nods, but he's taking his time to get checked out by the physio because it looks like it may have been a contact, injury, collision to Branthwaite, and it's at 68 minutes. Yeah, lots to talk about Sims. Hard to say if he was at Everton, if he would all of a sudden lose scoring form because he's not getting the distribution he needs. Okay, so the injury for Branthwaite looks like he was going up for a header and knocked by Dominic Solanke and kind of had an awkward fall. Not sure it's a head injury, but he's just resting down. They look like they are bringing on, or Ashley Young is at least standing up, as is Andre Gomez. So 10 minutes too late. And of course, it's a reactionary, not a proactive. It's not a proactive change by Dyche. It's only when we go down do we make changes. But it looks like we might be getting some subs coming on. The pitch is conducive to a team who have pace and can break quickly and just pass well. We can't do any of those things. Well, yes. What's kind of funny is the middle of the pitch has the really poor conditions. The final third on either side is just fine from what I can see. But yes, they are front central attacking players. If I quickly went to present the squad at around half time, let's see if I can bring this up. The Semenyo, Clivert, and Tavernier have been the real menace for them. Cook and Adams have been quite poor. Smith is rather anonymous, as is Kirkes, and they're playing out through the centre halves a lot. So we're at 70 minutes here in 14 seconds. Another one of these diagonals through the channels, low with a couple of bounces, and Semenyo overhit the pass to that could have been quite likely a Solanke second goal, but yeah. Honestly, right now, Michael, I think I'm not sure about the goal. I think that's probably on the players, but how Everton have when they do have opportunities to move forward, and I forget if that was Tazul's comment or if that was John Jones or Wormy, but there was a scenario where Everton had the opportunity to break and left DCL out to dry. People will blame DCL that we need better strikers and we need to score goals, but tactically not even taking the risk either. Then Onana does a shank ball that nearly, it's a good strike when you wonder if he meant to hit the corner flag. So we're having subs come on, though. I guess that's a positive. It's just taken a bit. And as Wes said, Jack Harrison has been poor. So you know what? We don't have a right winger option with Dobbin out. So Ashley Young comes in. And Abdoulaye Doucouré has looked more and more tired in the second half. So he's off as well. So we now have a new right winger and quite likely number 10 in Andre Gomez. Potentially, instead of making it a triangle of the two defensive central midfielders and the cam, now we have two attacking midfielders and a CDM, or two CMs and a CDM in Onana. I imagine Onana will play deep, and James Garner will play probably still on that right side with Ashley Young and Coleman, and we'll have Gomez play on the left side. But so far, it's a bit hard to tell how they're lining up in the middle there. Gomez looked good in training, but he's always looks a little bit flat-footed. And yes, so far, no Beto or Chimiti. And I'm not sure if everyone else agrees that this is all on DCL. I don't think it is right now. I'm not a DCL lover or hater, but he isn't getting distribution. The build-up play is so poor. What's he kind of meant to do? The problem is Harrison hasn't been doing enough. So maybe Ashley Young, maybe it's the old guard with leadership on the right that do something. Ashley Young can cross, not always very good, but he can. Doucouré's looked quite poor today in the second half. I think he's looking injured, but he's looking better. So they had to take him off. Gomez isn't a bad shout. But then the question is, do we have Beto or Chimiti? Is that actually going to make the impact we want? I'd say Chimiti has more like youth and fight to him. Also, they just did a substitution here for Bournemouth of Ouattara and Billing. Let me check who they subbed out for. Tazul, that's a good one. So they brought in Lloyd Kelly for Kirkes at 63 minutes, but they're not showing the subs yet that they brought in for Bournemouth. Okay, so Philip Billing came on for Justin Kluivert and Ouattara for Tavernier. So meaning they've left on. So it's going to be Semenyo, Billing, and Ouattara as their attacking three now in support of Dominic Solanke. Yeah, and Michael, I'm not sure if you caught my view of it, but all the attacking plays that they were showing were these in transition 2v2 scenarios, and that hasn't been the way this match has turned out. We haven't really taken the risk that is necessary to bring your players up in a position to be in a 2v2 to score those chances. So how else do you do build-up play? Because they're not really showing it right now. A corner came in, unsuccessful. It was a bit too short, but Ashley Young appears to have the throw-in. The Bournemouth guy kicked the ball away, but home field advantage gives you one trip around go to collect $200 before you go to jail with a yellow card, I guess. Coleman on the ball, passes it back to James Tarkovsky. Likely going to be a switch here, to Pickford. Lots of hands up saying, I'll kick a long hoofball, and hopefully... Oh, okay, DCL won the header. Gomez did not win the second header, though. And that's what's really tricky here. In previous weeks, DCL's been at the halfway line. DCL won the ball there, but he did not win. He didn't have someone anticipating the second header. Tarkovsky looked, he got punched, let's just say, and had to take down the defender by the halfway line. And the defender had to take away the offensive player. He basically held his arm and forced Solanke, saying, you're not going to pass me, mate. I'm going to take you down. So Solanke is now wiped out on the halfway line. Tarkovsky's got a bloody knee and a yellow card to show for it. So it's 75-52 here, so right around 76 minutes. I'm sure you guys are loving this as much as I am. But thank you all for being here with me. We're now up to 285 people watching live. So for those that haven't, if you're on Facebook and you're interested in getting live posts through alternate media sources, YouTube is a great way to go, and you can like and subscribe there, and you can donate to the channel. I can put up the link a bit later. If you are a YouTube member, it's simply clicking subscribe and notifications to see when that stuff comes up live. And if you are on Twitter and you like Twitter, you can say right there, but you won't be able to get notifications of upcoming content. You'll only get notifications when we're live. Back to the match. Ashley Young looking he's looking very frail. Wow. Yeah, Ashley Young looked quite a Lewis Cook that's been playing, like, battling out in the middle of the field, looking edgier than a fresh Ashley Young is quite embarrassing on the right mid there. So looks like maybe Ouattara back to Cook to Adams, and now they're doing a switch of play. Coming through the middle with Semenyo. Not seeing many options. They're starting back again and doing a switch through their defensive line. Neto on the ball here at 77 minutes, 24 seconds. And again, just one-touch pass from Che Adams back to his defenders. Oh, I feel the cynicism, Toffee, man. I don't want to say it publicly, but I'm not feeling good right now with how we're doing. But I guess we'll take that as a positive. DCL and a couple others put in enough pressure on Neto that he had to kick the ball out, and annoyed his team for not providing options. Another update here. So this is interesting. Amadou Onana coming off for Gomez Beto. So if you're saying we're taking the game on, again, a little bit too late in my opinion, but Onana was not the problem today. He did exactly what he was expected to do, but he's not the one we're expecting to score goals from. That's more from James Garner and some others. It appears that Tottenham just, oh no, never mind. They updated the app and then they changed their mind. They said Tottenham scored and then they declined it, so it didn't happen. But Amadou Onana off and Beto on, so we're expecting the awkward tango partnership, where it does take two to tango, but it takes two to tango that know how to tango with each other. And if that's DCL and Beto, let's see how they do. I imagine, and at least this is what I've been saying through the Follow Everton team and on some of the content, I hope that they have DCL come out wide a little bit more or win the first header and Beto's there for scraps. Godfrey chasing the ball down from Philip Billing, who kicks it right along the touchline and knocked out a play by James Garner here at 79 minutes. Toffee man, I wouldn't disagree. I've got about an hour and a half before I've got to sign out of my Airbnb, and it's only 9:40 in the morning, so I might join you this afternoon. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, they don't know how to, and it's a weird thing, but we know that footballers a lot of time it is almost like dancing. And again, I was never a when I played, I was either a defensive midfielder or a right fullback because I wasn't tall enough to be in the midfield kind of deal. But too slow to tango, more like a. That's good, real good. Yeah. The problem here is it's almost a positional problem, Barry. Are we are we told not to show spirit, or our spirit is in our discipline, and therefore we don't know how to show flair? Because right now, and that's like David Moyes' squads too. You need one or two players while everyone else is disciplined. Dice likes that too, but we don't have that player right now. That was Decore. For the likes of a Moyes side, they have Luis Paqueta and what's his name again? The guy from Ghana who's doing excellent, Mohamed Kudus. So they have a few people that have that edge while everyone else is disciplined. Right now, we don't have that kind of annoys the crap out of the other team, riles them up, wants them to they want to like people probably loved, I mean, ironically, playing against Cahill because he's such a cheeky shit, and we don't have those players other than Tarkovsky and Coleman at times. So we don't have those players that do the little things that give us an edge right now. Onana can, but he's not. Gomez is looking okay on the ball here. We're going to the left side across. So I'm not sure you can blame McNeil. His idea was we've been doing lots of back post stuff. Why don't you go to the near post? No one was expecting it though, so it didn't really work out. But we have the ball back. Seamus Coleman here at 81 minutes 25. Branthwaite wins the header. Tarky wins the next header. Beto wins the next header, and Beto was almost set up DCL in on goal, but his header was too close to their keeper and Neto. Beto to Neto, and Ashley Young looks so off the pace of this match. He's been, if he didn't get a yellow right now, he's been asking for it. Let's have a look here. Ashley Young comes in. Yeah, he stands on the base of his foot and complains that it wasn't a referee. Well, based on what Martin's saying, let me check on some score updates. So Tottenham and Luton is still 1-1. Sheffield is up 3-1, potentially up a little more based on what Martin's saying. So I'll at least update it to 3-1. So the only team not to score today so far is Everton. If any of you are surprised, call the mental health hotline at 969. No. But no, in a way, no real surprises. We haven't been scoring. We say we're going to score. You need to take risks. You need to be brave, and you need to trust a plan. But right now, the plan that Dice is laying out does not allow us to have that edge to me. Okay. Yeah. All good, Martin. They're up by 2, 3-1. Looks like. So the ticker is updated based on my check of sofa score here 30 seconds ago. Andre Gomez. A lazy dangling of the foot. Coleman does a good intercept, but doesn't have the pace after he intercepts to take on the play. And Ouattara knocks it out for a throw-in. So they might be showing a substitution here. They've got, can't pronounce his first name, but his name is the Turkish striker of Unal. Got his headband and a long hair on. And subbing off Solanke here at 83 minutes and 50 seconds. A standing ovation to him. He hasn't been excellent today, but you know what he did? He scored a goal when Everton were not in the right position, exposed, and he won the header comfortably from a pretty good Kelly cross that exposed the two center halves being out of position. So Unal on, Solanke off. 84 minutes and 20 seconds. So again, really appreciate everyone following along. We're right on just around the 300 mark on live listeners between Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So if you like what you're seeing here, please like and subscribe through YouTube. If you're a Facebook member, it's sticking through right there and following will be great. For those on Twitter, if you want to get those posts coming through live to plan your day out, following us through YouTube as well, we'll do that for you. But yes, 84 minutes and 52 seconds in another frustrating, grueling. Well, we had 3 weeks. What are we really doing here? It's feeling pretty grim right now. Everyone on the chat is feeling the same way. Well, we leaked 1 goal, but we also can't score. So take that one as you will there, Mr. Toffee Man. To use one requires you to potentially score, and we're not scoring. To Michael James's point, if Luton are doing this well against Spurs at their ground and we have points deduction coming, are we playing them? We are done. Yeah, anything is possible in this season, but we've said this many a time. This is in our hands. This match has not been, it's absolutely been a winnable match. Bournemouth haven't been excellent, but they are also winning poorly, long balls that are poorly weighted. They are closing down, like right now, McNeil took on 3 players. So he did well. And you know what? Ben Godfrey says, well, that 3-on-1 opportunity, let's not exploit it. Let's pass it back to Branthwaite. That makes it safe and lets everyone recover. So again, really, really, really slow build-up play. Here's a chance. Is it a goal? Is it a goal? Wow. I'm so nervous that they're going to call this on VAR. But right now, Gomez Beto has just given a 1-month supply of KFC cold chicken to everyone in Merseyside with that. It was a cross. That was actually a very poor cross in my view. But what it did was it just hung up long enough in the right spot, and Gomez challenged, or Beto challenged, and made it uncomfortable for their keeper. They did not communicate that well. That should never have been a goal, but you know what? We put it in the right spot. So I'm not seeing any response. Oh, there we go, Toffee Man. I felt like I was watching a different match to the entire forum. Everyone's diced out and frustrated, and all of a sudden we actually scored. So I was hoping I wasn't on my own planet here, but you know what? I am going to update this ticker because I am so excited that we are now back on level points, and my standard of excitement has dropped so low that I'm excited for a 1-1 draw because it's better than a loss. But if that's the case, and Bournemouth know that they've been leaking goals they have at home, they haven't looked that good. Maybe this is a moment for Everton to go all out. I'm not sure if that's humorous, but right now I'll take it. Yeah. I'm feeling the love, as is Tarkovsky, as he's rolling around getting his old gray onesie dirty with grass. So Ouattara was covered comfortably on that cross there by Coleman, who was chasing him, but Tarkovsky in the right position. So maybe right now the newest update is Tottenham just went ahead 2-1, by the way. So I'm not sure if that's official because last time they advertised that it didn't happen. It looks like Chelsea and Burnley are also have both scored, but now it's 2-2. So let me update the ticker here, everyone. But we're at 88 minutes 43. So it's a corner for Bournemouth at 88 minutes and 58 seconds. Fulham have scored again, so they are at... This is interesting. Tarkovsky's taking a bit of a breather on the ground, taking a knee. Fulham have scored twice. So it's 3-2 at Bramall Lane for the Blades. And yes, Tottenham are up 2-1. Oh, yeah, this could be, if this isn't a VAR call, that's because Kelly looked like he elbowed Taki. I know Taki likes to make a meal of things and exaggerate, but that looked like it was elbow contact to the head. VAR should be given a consideration for that for a red card. You know, I actually think that was a mistake by their player. I'm not sure I want to give Dyche credit, but I'm appreciating right now we need, when we say we need a win, if we at least need a draw for positivity's sake. If this stays, as John Jones is saying, as 1-1, right now we'll take it. That was what I said from my head, not my heart, that it'd be 1-1, but I thought 2-1 or 1-1 was likely. Wait, what just happened? Oh no. I take a sip of water and we let a goal in. Was this Coleman? Oh, wow. Coleman, come on, man. What a disaster. Because you know what Coleman was doing, but is that really the right play there? We have 6 minutes of extra time, but oh, geez, don't we know how to make a frustrating show of things? We are now down 2-1 due to our beloved captain trying to chest the ball back with a bit of spin, a bit slightly too overcooked to handle off his chest, hoping that Pickford collects the ball. And you know what? He didn't. What a frustrating situation this is becoming. We're at 91 minutes 30 here, and we're 6 minutes into the match. Oh, six minutes of stoppage time. Apologies, minimum. What an odd type of goal this is. We're prone to these really stupid defensive lapses at Bournemouth. I don't know why it happens to be at Bournemouth every time. Yeah, and I'm not sure why Pickford didn't try, but I'm not sure he was close enough either. Yeah. This game has basically been based on 3 defensive lapses. One was completely a defensive lapse. The others were subtle errors, like we're talking Neto giving Beto that opportunity because he didn't need to commit and lost the challenge. But that's also credit to a large mass of a human in Beto. But the other goal, again, we had our 2 centre halves out of position with a good cross from Kelly to the back post. And of course, it was against Godfrey. So it's been a match of 3 defensive lapses. And unfortunately, the even amount of goals, 2 of them have gone to Bournemouth. And we are now with 3 minutes and a little bit of change remaining of the 6 added on. And Coleman looking like he's let down the entire Merseyside and I guess even the likes of me out here in the US. But it's it hurts most when it's someone like Coleman that has given probably 6 hamstrings, 2 Achilles, 2 ACLs, a rotator cuff, and his second heart that he doesn't even know he has to Everton over the years, that he's the one that did it. It's really tough. We'll have to look back at XG because it hasn't felt like we've had it. I'm glad Nick is a Bournemouth fan involved, or he's at least hoping that someone other than Everton stay up this year fan. So, Steve, great to hear fellow Aussies calling in. I've been trying to figure out if I do a phone in with Australians. We just have to see if we get enough interested members interested in calling one of these days. It'd be great to hear from you all. Yeah. warm weather training, warm weather conditions. I know Yan thought it would be cold and miserable when I called him, but when we were on the call with Chad. But it's been a great weather day, other than the only rain on this pitch is actually from the sprinklers, and it's been really poor stadium control. But guess what? Bournemouth can handle it, Everton can't. And Everton are looking more and more like they're just hoping someone else doesn't get points today, because this was at minimum a point today. And we're now at 94 minutes 54. Tarkovsky doing a cross to slightly overhit, but the same kind of spot. Neto looking uncomfortable. James Garner on the ball. Passes to McNeil. Passing back to James Garner. James Garner and McNeil. Cross, come on. Zabani handles it. And Philip Billing is a little bit taller than James Garner. And Andre Gomez either nicked him or a really exaggerated fall by, I'm trying to remember the guy's name. It looks like Adams. I'll give us score updates here when this match finishes. It's easier on these watch-alongs for me to not look at the play-by-play at some points, but this match feels over. Neto doing a long ball after that free kick. Branthwaite tackling, looks like maybe Billing on the ball. No, not Billing. Semenyo's got it on the right wing, kind of right corner flag, doing the shielding game, trying to see if he can induce a corner out of it, but doesn't need to, gets a throw in instead. And Everton on the ball, but in this position, Semenyo trying to do a professional foul. Godfrey trying to sneak a few feet up, doesn't get away with it. Looking over. A hoofball. A header to Billing, who's going to win that one. Dyche wearing his navy blue suit, looking devoid of answers, but I think the Everton fans are devoid of patience right now. I certainly feel it, or certainly am. We're now at 97 minutes and 12. This game is almost surely over. You guys seem to be giving the it's all over, but I'll talk through it until I finish anyway. So McNeil does a oddball pass back to Pickford, doesn't work. It's now a corner to Bournemouth. Thank you, Mr. Toffee Man. I appreciate your a lot of your comments. And again, we have quite a good listening audience of over 350 right now. So again, if you enjoy what we're doing here and you want to basically be able to plan your watch-alongs with us, the best way to do that, match is over. Bournemouth 2, Everton 1. What a frustrating result again. So I don't mind Bournemouth fans on here, but it doesn't make me feel better about the fixtures. But thanks for joining us, Nick. For those that enjoy this kind of content, and sometimes I'll do watch-alongs of other Premier League relegation scrap matches. Oh, looks like Ryan's in. Hey, Ryan.
Hi, Chris.
How you doing? As good as me?
I'm going to say it clear. I think it's time for a change of manager. I've seen enough. There's nothing to lose by changing the manager now, because we're not winning any games, or drawing, and we're not losing. We're not winning them, and the way we're losing them and the way we're drawing them is just apathetic.
Incredibly uninspiring. Yeah.
I think it is time to get him out. I think there's a lot of Dyche apologists out there because we won 4 games, but you're forgetting, football managers will win games over the course of a season. A broken clock still is correct twice a day. This team is showing nothing like what we saw in those games. He's completely lost his way. The players look apathetic. I don't think that own goal happens if your concentration levels are higher. and your confidence is, and I just think everything comes.
Yeah, but it's from Coleman. That's the toughest part, Ryan. Of all people, you trust Coleman to be concentrating, don't you?
Yeah, he's finished. He makes mistakes because he's finished at this level. You know, he's 35.
Yeah.
He's not on contract. Yeah, he's
Well,
done okay, but you know, there's a reason why the players get to the end of the career and call it a day, and it's because they make mistakes. The concentration levels aren't quite there. You've done fantastic on this watch along. I think I don't know how you can sit through it because it's time to it's time for a change to the manager.
yeah.
This is equally the longest run ever in Everton's history without winning a game.
Yeah, and for all those listening, we have 373 now. Again, thank you. And Ryan's, were you at the match, Ryan?
No, I'm at home. To be honest, I've got so much going on. I thought I can't even be arsed watching this. I was waiting for it to end from the final whistle, from the first.
Yeah, it's easier because for me, Ryan, honestly, I was enthusiastically going play by play, but half of it's like, and James Garner wins the ball and he gives it away while falling in a puddle in the middle of the pitch. So the pitch quality was really poor, and like the midfield couldn't compensate with puddles in like it was almost like drenched in the grass. So like Bournemouth knew not to pass through the middle, and Everton was just doing that all day. But like,
yeah, I didn't have
poor.
I didn't have a good stream here in South Africa, but you know, there's I could sit and harp on about the tactical sort of elements to that game, and the few things that really pick up on me as a real problem was it's so slow, it's so laboured, one-dimensional. The crossing is from the wrong areas. Again, we don't get enough bodies in the box. Everything's designed to be a 50-50. The counter-attacks end up with our own goalkeeper or back. You know, so fundamentally wrong that you cannot digest what is right and you cannot break it down because it's just a complete mess from all aspects. There's nothing really positive about them anymore. I mean, even the goal looks like a bit of a wet lettuce. You know,
yeah, it was a lucky goal. It was a mistake by the keeper, but you know what? We put it in the right area for once. Like we haven't put the ball in the right area enough, and the little link-up plays were almost good enough, but they're not good enough. 4 weeks or 3 weeks off, almost none of the players offensively were actually playing away. You had Onana away, maybe Idrissa Gana Gueye. You had Branthwaite and Mikalenko and Pickford. All the attacking play and the build-up play was not good enough. And I'm not sure if you watched or heard me talk about the highlight reel of training. All of it they focused on was how good Everton looked on a 2v2 when they were practicing transition with a giant goal with a keeper right next to him. And it's just like, okay, you know what? Bournemouth figured out that tactic after 5 minutes. We looked dangerous for 5 minutes. They made a tactical change. They decided to do diagonal balls and win the second chances. And they weren't even that good today either, Brian, were they?
Bournemouth were tragic. I mean, Bournemouth were bad. They don't look like a big team. They don't look like they've got a lot about them. The crowd was flat. The game was there for the taking. All it needed is someone to step up with a little bit of cutting edge to provide a bit of a finishing touch for us. To take the game, I'd just go for the net. And for me, that would have been Andre Gomez on for Amadou Onana well before he came on because Onana was so poor.
Like, the frustrating part is, generally speaking, I thought Onana was quite good at what we needed him to do. We just need people to do what they're not designed for or what they're expected to do. Harrison, McNeil, Doucouré to not look like he had... You know when you go for like a long run and you haven't ran for ages and then the next day your legs hurt? That's what it looked like when he was running around today. Like he had that, he was running around injured, but he just got to the play. And by the time he was there, his muscles like didn't react well, and he just bumped people. So he's not looking good enough either. Yeah. We got 45 out of him, and he was passable for 45, but he was dross after that. So we don't have the attacking players. James Garner, like he tried to do the right thing, but it didn't work at all on his forward box-to-box type play. So Onana was fine. Tarkowski and Branthwaite were... I'm going to have to watch it back. But that first goal, it was completely on them on how they positioned themselves to make it so they were both on the right side with Coleman to have Godfrey and Solanke on a 1v1. That is unacceptable, right? Outside of that, though, they weren't terrible defensively. but we
No.
just cannot. We weren't crossing well enough. Overhit, underhit, and the link-up play. After you're like, when you play with these positional triangles, Ryan, you're like, okay, you pass it to this person, you pass it to this person. Great, you did keep me off. Now move to the new position, receive the ball. We break down when we have to like move out of our stationary positions. And that is not, if we have the ball, we cannot win like that.
For me, it looked like when you go and play five-a-side, or actually a better analogy probably is more that like it's an OAP charity match, because the players refuse to move away from their set positions and they refuse to do anything which could cause the opposition any disrupt. It's like we're an apologist football team where we're not allowed to do anything to make life difficult for them. I mean, just on the goals, the first goal, the keeper could come out and attack the ball, perhaps you could say, but it's a bit far out. So you look at your two centre halves, in the wrong position, and Solanke does exactly what you meant to do. It's not what Calvert-Lewin does and pin on to a centre half. He gets away from the two centre backs.
He backs away from the centre halves and finds space. Yeah, exactly.
Well, this you could still stop the cross. You could still, there's a lot more you could do, but sometimes you're going to concede goals. The second goal, obviously the equaliser for us, is just a freak of nature. Bear in mind, I think at this point we should have had a pen. I don't want to go too much into this if you're doing it. Just on that, it's a clear penalty. The goal we score with Beto, I'm glad he got a goal, but that should never happen in a month of Sundays. And the final goal, the Coleman one, is just completely fucking pathetic, to be honest.
Yeah.
You've got lined up
like judged the hit, the spin, and there was no one behind him, but he didn't know it for some reason, so he didn't let it go past him. And he thought, okay, it's safer to go to Pickford, and it didn't. It was terrible.
He doesn't need to do anything. The keeper should come out and claim it or talk, or he should just anticipate it. I've seen more movement on anticipation on Crosby Beach with the statues, but they were lined up like a bunch of lemons, not wanting to take control. Yeah. Coleman, does nothing and doesn't deal with it. The commentator was being an apologist for him, but it was 5-year-old seasoned international footballer, captain of Ireland. It's an embarrassment. And for me right now, it's not a knee-jerk reaction. I've been saying, you've got to change the manager. You're sleepwalking. You've got nothing to lose. We're probably going to lose to Luton. We're probably going to lose to Forest and Brentford, and on that basis, we'll be relegated. I haven't seen anything since December the 16th, which since before Christmas, which dictates that we're going to do anything positive moving forward. So if we don't change the manager, we can all. I don't give a fuck.
What scares me, do you remember when Dyche got sacked from Burnley and then the new guy came in and it didn't have an impact to the squad? And they went down? I have a bad feeling it'll be the same though. So what do you do? Because I think Dyche has ruined the morale and there's no way back right now.
The morale is shot. The players.
Yeah, morale is shot.
Yeah.
I will also say, Ryan, we're going to get our next stream going on in about 5 minutes. So I was thinking that you could probably join on with Basil and I, but we're going to kick off in about 5 minutes on that one. So potentially we end this one. We've got 422 people watching. So those that are wanting to hear Ryan, Aussie Chris, me, and Basil continue the frustrations of what just happened, will give us a 4-minute hiatus. We'll have a new post up on the Follow Everton page. So on Twitter, you'll see a new link. But if you want to jump on YouTube, that one's scheduled for 4 minutes from now. So please jump over to that one. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Any final words before we move over, Ryan?
Well, thanks so much for doing the watch along. I'm going to let David take control with yourself for the post match rather than get many opportunities. But what I would like to just say is to everyone watching, please put a thumbs up for Chris. He's done a brilliant job. And also, if you're watching on X, I know some people like the convenience of that, but it's also very good to watch it over on YouTube. So if you go to youtube.com or on YouTube on your app on your phone and search for Follow Everton, just give us a subscribe on there. It's absolutely free. And let's boost the numbers up on that the channel, because we've got over 2,500 subscribers, but when we're getting 418 people watching over on X, and I'm sat there thinking, come on, guys, feel free to watch on X, but come over to YouTube and give us a subscribe, because it will boost the algorithm of how many people can find us. And, at the end of the day, we're putting this content out there for absolutely nothing. So give us something back with that subscription. So show Chris some support. So that's over on YouTube, youtube.com/Follow Everton. click subscribe, or on your mobile app, go on YouTube and search for Follow Everton, click subscribe. But stick your thumbs up, your like button for Chris, and he will be on post-match. Thanks so much. I'm going to go and stick my head in an oven and hope I don't wake up and have to watch Everton Football Club again.
Yep. If your head's in the oven, your backside's in the freeze, and the middle's the right temperature. So maybe we get lucky.
See you later. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah. See you guys. And come join us on the next channel. I am having my American flag up, so Big Sam is watching you. So come join us on the next channel in about a little under, well, 2 minutes-ish, but we'll be on shortly. Okay. Bye, everyone.